welcome to Respiratory HQ's Journey to Success podcast, the podcast specifically for RT students because you all are the future of the respiratory therapy profession, and not everything you need for success can be found in your textbooks. I'm Tonya Peel. I'm so excited to be here to give you a little guidance and insight, a few tips, maybe a few tricks to help you be successful on your journey through respiratory therapy school. Let's get started. Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a couple of months since I've recorded an episode for this podcast, and I had said back in January that I was only going to record episodes as I felt inspired to, and so that is actually the topic of today's podcast, because we all need a little bit of inspiration on occasion. So this is a completely unscripted podcast. I don't have a note one. I just want to talk to you and tell you something that happened last week to me that gave me so much inspiration and just filled my soul with happiness and peace, knowing I was moving in the right direction in my life. So let's just start talking about inspiration. I am a respiratory therapist, right? I've always loved the word inspire. That's what we do for our patients, right? We help them inspire. We help them breathe easier. We help them with the breath of life. And so I love that word. I also, as an instructor, love that word because I feel like my part of my job is to inspire my students, inspire them to learn, inspire them to keep learning after graduation, inspiring to have them do the right thing, do the ethical thing, do their job to the best of their ability. And within that relationship, sometimes we think about that instructors are always the one that inspire, yet sometimes it's the students that inspire the instructor. And so my story that I have to tell you has to do with that. But I also want to tie into the word inspire and talk about it in this manner just a little bit, because the biblical meaning of that word is God breathed, and that's to describe the scriptures in the Bible. But I think oftentimes anything that is you listening and tuning in to what's going on around you, you can find things that are inspired by God quite often. And so that's going to tie into this podcast. So here we go. Let me kind of tell you about my experience last week. But to start that, I have to tell you about this group of students that we have right now. They are transitioning into their third semester of our program. We have 5 continuous semesters in our program. So they are deep in the summer, and we are learning mechanical ventilation. And they're going to clinicals 2 12-hour shifts a week and then attending class 2 days a week. So, hard stuff, right? It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of dedication. But these students that I have in this group, they are a fun-spirited, fun-loving group of people. I'll give you a couple of examples. Sometime around the end of last semester, a Build-A-Bear showed up in our lab, and they named this Build-A-Bear Tamantha Brenner. Okay, so Tamantha is a combination of my first name, Tonya, and one of our other full-time faculty members' name, Samantha, so Tamantha, and our clinical director, her last name is Brenner. So this bear is named for all 3 of us, and she sits in our lab, and I have been told that here before very long she's going to get a set of scrubs and a college patch also. So, they're just a fun-loving group of people. Well, last semester also, a group of them had made these bracelets. And the bracelets that people were wearing a couple of years ago that was WWJD, what would Jesus do? Well, somehow these bracelets that they started wearing said WWTD, what would Tonya do? Because they say that all the time on their tests, when they're taking their test or in clinicals, they ask themselves, what would Tonya do? And it was kind of funny. We all got a laugh out of it. I'm in no way comparing myself to Christ, who was absolutely perfect. It just was a cute little fun thing. And they made me a bracelet also. And so I wear this bracelet on occasion. I typically try to wear it in the lab that the other girls are wearing it. It's just a fun thing to do. So last Wednesday, I woke up, did my whole morning routine, getting ready to go to work, and I was feeling very uninspired. And I know if you're a student and you're listening to this, you know exactly what I mean, that you don't want to get around, you don't want to go to school, it's just another day, and it's just you get caught up in this, and some days are just harder than the others. And last Wednesday was that day for me. I was just not feeling it. And I don't have these days a lot. So when I do have them, I really don't like them. So really, really uninspired, really not feeling it, really not wanting to go to work. And I had put on my bracelet because it matched my scrubs, and it's the one of the labs where some of the students are there. And I happened to look down at the bracelet as I was making a cup of coffee, and I thought about this bracelet differently. I thought about, the students, for them to make this and to wear this. What I say matters to them. They respect and they value the education I'm giving them and the advice that I'm giving them. And so when I realized that, I really needed to make an immediate mind change, because if they cared enough about what I taught and what I thought and what I would do, then they deserve me doing the very, very best job I can possibly do for them. So I had this, I had just decided to change my mindset. I was leaving the house and I was going to make it the best day possible. I was going to teach the best I possibly could. I was going to teach the hardest that I possibly could, and we were going to have a good learning day. And so once I made that decision that that's how my day was going to go, and I'm driving to work, and my mind is just filled with all of these awesome ideas. Now I'm working on stuff for Respiratory HQ, some of my online courses, and I'm just having an explosion of ideas. And so I really even had to turn off my radio so I could concentrate on these ideas, letting my mind run. So it was really, really a good thing. Get to work. I have to stop the Respiratory HQ stuff because, I'm an employee of the college. I'm there for my students. And so I go to class, and we were lecturing on lung compliance and airways resistance. And it was a review day, and I have this fantastic chart that I developed a couple of years ago that gives the bird's eye view of compliance and resistance, and then I teach all the detailed stuff, and then I come back to the chart, and it just went really well. It was a good learning day. The students were understanding it in a level that sometimes they don't understand it, and they were really thinking that chart was working. And so we took a break, and I'm running to my office to go get a bottle of water. And as I'm walking down the hallway, I'm thinking to myself that how great that chart was, and that I really needed to develop some other charts that were equally as functional, such as an effective tool as what that one was. And so I'm thinking about mechanical ventilation as I'm walking down the hallway. I have this concept that just comes up in my mind, and I think I can put all of mechanical ventilation on about 7 charts. I really think I can drill down mechanical ventilation to 7 charts. And in my mind, I'm walking down the hallway and I'm talking to myself. I probably look like a lunatic, but I'm talking to myself, and I'm just gesturing in front of me because I can literally see these charts in my mind. And so as I'm walking down the hallway, acting like a fool, acting like a crazy lady, talking to myself, gesturing to myself, one of those students comes, I think out of the women's restroom, This student was the student that kind of started all the bracelet idea, and her niece developed this "What Would Tonya Do" bracelet. And I'm walking down the hallway, and I said, "Oh, I'm not crazy, just ignore me. I've just had this fantastic idea." And she just kind of laughed, and we passed each other. And as soon as I passed her, I had this feeling in my chest. It just I call it settling in my soul, because occasionally in life these kind of feelings have happened to me, and I've just known what I was doing was the right thing to do. And I had that experience that day. I just had this settling in my chest, this settling in my soul. That's like a physical sensation. And I just know right then and there, these charts that I have in my mind, they are going to work, that I am, I'm going to use it for HQ, that I'm doing exactly what God created me to do. And it was such a good feeling and such a peaceful feeling and such a strong feeling. So I call these things God moments. It was a God moment. It was a God thing. Some of my friends call it, living your truth, and that's absolutely true also. But as I'm thinking about this word inspiration, I think this was a moment that was God inspired, and He used my students to inspire me. And so I grab my water bottle and I go back up to the classroom and I tell the students, okay, I've got this fantastic idea. And I said, I don't know it's going to work. And then I was like, no, but I know it's going to work. I said, I'm going to develop these charts, but let's do them right here, because we've had probably 4 or 5 of the lessons from these charts. And we just spun these charts off in class, and they're going to work, and they're going to be great. And they're going to be an effective teaching tool. And so anyway, it was just this great learning day. But I was sure when I came back to lab that day, because that day, my student, she was in lab that day, and I told her this story, and told her what had happened that day, and how much that she was a part of that, and how much I appreciated. And she said, you know what, I'm so glad that inspired you. And so there's that word again, right? Inspiration. It is what we do for our patients. It is what I try to do with my students. It is what my students do for me, inspiring me. And the whole event was what I call God breathed. It was a God moment. So I just wanted to share that with everybody else. I know everybody has always had some of these things happen to, that you just reach a moment in your life and you just know that it's the right thing to do. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. Hope you found it inspirational. Hope you're doing well in school. Best of luck to you in all of your journey, and I will see you soon.